Welcome to the Zambian Jewels podcast, a podcast where we talk about Zambian gemstones, the people, stories, and places that keep the industry going. We are the hosts. My name is Sambayonga. I do comms, culture, and promote everything authentically Zambian.
And I am Rashmi Sharma, a gemologist and jeweler, trying to put Zambian gemstones on the global gemstone landscape. Join us in conversation.
Hi, Rashmi.
Hello, Samba. How are you? I'm very excited about our gemstone. It really
the
brings
one that
out
we're talking about today?
happy factor. But
You're holding something in your hand.
I am holding the Emerald City, but it's actually Tourmaline. The Emerald City because it reminds me of Wizard of Oz. For those who haven't watched the movie, please go ahead, because when you watch this episode, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I say Emerald City. This starts off as a pink tourmaline, goes into a lighter pink, and then light green and a deep green on the top of the city. It's absolutely gorgeous.
It's stunning. I absolutely love it. If you can just see it, I mean, for those listening, if you can just see it, or you can't hear what it looks like, but if you look at it, it's absolutely stunning.
This is God's city for me. I mean, it gives me goosebumps when I hold it, because tourmalines have that effect on you. Mm-hmm. They have a certain energy deviation. And so when you wear it, for black tourmaline, for example, women who are arthritis, they swear by it. They say if you tuck it into your bra and you hold on to it, your skin touches it. It does somehow remove the pain of arthritis. I haven't tried it yet, but there are some very good buyers who swear by it. But that's black tourmaline. And, tourmaline comes in every single color you can imagine.
Mm-hmm. But before we get deep into the tourmaline, for those of you who haven't listened to the previous episodes, now I think we're on several episodes in, and we've been enjoying this journey, and we want to enjoy this journey with you. So if this is your first time hearing it, stop, pause right now, go back, listen to the other episodes, and then come back for this one. I'm excited for this episode because tourmaline, the more I'm having conversations with you, the more we're digging deeper into the industry, into the actual gemstones, the beauty, the potential, what we need to do to take it forward. Tourmaline just keeps on gripping my soul.
Yes.
And one of the things I really love about it, it's one of the most versatile stones. And I've seen you've lined them all up here, and I'm just going to give it to you to just take us through all of them. If I stop you at some point and just want to admire and linger,
please stop me, because I can go on and on about tourmalines. I mean, tourmaline should be an industry on its own, because of the magnetic properties of tourmalines. They're used in hair curlers, hair straighteners, and so many devices that use tourmaline for its magnetism. But we use tourmaline to create sparkles and colors, and they resonate with many women and men around the globe. And tourmaline is a dichroic stone, so within one pebble of a gemstone, if I pick this up for those who are watching on video, if you look at the color through this A-axis and I turn it around to the C-axis, it goes from pink to yellow-green.
Wow.
Yeah, that's just one
Stunning.
stone. And this is not magic. This is just the way the tourmaline grows. And it has a coating on top of it. So this makes it...
And how does a tourmaline grow? Maybe we can start from there, and then you can take us through each one of them.
Pegmatite in the ground. It's a very, very complex borosilicate. It has a lot of elements that are on the periodic table that are running through it, coming together. But it comes together in a very trigonal structure. Trigonal meaning it has either 3 sides or 6 sides. So, for example, this slice over here has 3 sides.
Right.
Yeah. But in here, you will see a few that are more with 6 sides. And the other characteristic is it always has these vertical striations on the surface. That's how you know a tourmaline, because of these vertical striations. If it didn't have them, I'd be doubtful, because you have apatites and fluorites that are very similar colors. But the beauty of tourmaline is, the multitude of color in one row. It just changes color as it goes along. And that's what makes it extremely difficult to cut, because with the coating that you saw on the pebble, if you hit that while you're cutting at 1 degree off or 10 degrees off, or if the temperature is incorrect, it cracks. Many a cutter has lost their job over that. If you end up cracking something like this, that is so precious. I mean, at this, I will never sell it unless something better replaces it. So, I mean, we used to mine green tourmalines in Kumanga, which is Mukushi Serenje area. That was the green tourmaline. And we found some blue tourmaline as well, like the darker blue. So tourmaline, pretty much like any other gemstone, depending on what the coloring agent is, will give you the value. All right. So the green tourmaline that has a black C-axis right here, you can't see through one of the axes. It's dark.
Oh, wow.
And you can see through the other axis.
Oh, my God.
Right?
Yeah.
So the idea is
can.
to not cut on the dark axis, because you don't want to make the stone any darker. You want all the light to bounce around and come back out from the top.
I'm looking at the way the light is falling on this particular cut, and it looks to me like an emerald.
For the one with the dark axis?
Yes, with the dark axis.
Yeah, so I need to compare this to an emerald so you can understand the different green in an emerald. This particular one over here is a closer emerald green because this is a chrome tourmaline, and chrome is what cuts an emerald. But yes, I mean, with experience, you'll understand the difference in the greens, but there's so many different shades of green on its own. There must be at least 10 different shades of green. Look at this canary yellow green.
Stunning.
Look at this blue green. Look at this green.
And where are the locations of all of these?
So as you go along that belt, you start in Mukushi and you keep on going, and sometimes you'll hit a blue. When I joined this business, my brother gave me a bag of gemstones. One of them had a blue tourmaline inside it. They had watermelon tourmalines inside it, and they were mined at different locations along that belt.
So which one is the belt? What is the belt?
You'll have to ask Raj that
Mukushi?
one. Yeah, so the Mukushi Serenje into Malawi. Nimba has the olive greens. Mozambique, Petauke, those areas, they have their own different greens. And the canary comes from the Nimba area as well. And then going into Malawi, you'll find different greens.
Absolutely fascinating.
Namibia has the most gorgeous blue tourmalines. In fact, South America has the most gorgeous blue tourmalines, hands down.
But I saw a Zambian blue tourmaline.
But they have the neon blue. I think their mine might be next to a uranium mine because they actually look radioactively blue. It's called a Paraiba tourmaline for a reason. And Paraiba tourmalines, even anything above half a carat is a specimen. They can fetch up to 20 grand a carat. I mean, that's serious. Chrome, copper and gold are their coloring agents.
And we're talking US dollars.
Yes. And, gold speaks for itself. When you have a gemstone that's colored by gold, can you imagine how high up the hierarchy it must be? Even if it's included, even if it's dirty, it's valuable because they're so rare. And anybody else who has the blue tourmaline isn't allowed to call it Paraiba because they're not from Paraiba. They're from Zambia. So it's like the Royal Siberian Amethyst. It's not from Siberia, it's from Zambia. So we need to coin Royal Zambian Amethyst. And we need to say Zambian blue tourmaline.
So it goes back again to the whole idea of how we are narrating the story around the gemstones in order to position them as Zambian. And Zambian located. Because it's part of growing the industry as well. Have we gone through all of them?
Just the tourmalines? No. Pink tourmaline. Look at this pink. Look at this pink. See the difference in that? This is a pink tourmaline. Prefix tourmaline. Pink tourmaline. This is a ruby light because it looks like a ruby. It resembles a ruby. It is colored by chrome. It doesn't have any iron contamination.
So for those listening, for the benefit of those listening, you can describe the pink one and the one that almost looks
the rich
ruby red. Yeah.
Yes, that's the ruby red. So it has its own name, rubellite. And as soon as something has its own name, like the Paraiba or the indicolite, the blues, you know that they're going to be higher up in the hierarchy of tourmaline. Right? And tourmaline is a higher end semi-precious. So if you have a 10 carat tourmaline and up, it's most likely going to be a precious. right? Because it's already so difficult to cut them because they're so stressed.
Of course.
So it's a higher end semi-precious, and it can go into the precious because as it gets bigger and cleaner, it's more difficult to get those sizes in without inclusions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we've had some fantastic rubellite sizes. I mean, even the one on my ring, it's more of a neon pink, right? And so the pinks are more near Mukushi, the greeners were near Serenge. And as you go forward, the topography, the geography changes, and you just come up with this entire array of colors that are magnificent. And depending on how you cut it, you can either bring in the C-axis or the A-axis, and it'll be that color. So the majority of the tourmalines are singular colors with reflections, and they have their own different shades of every color. So you've got 10 shades of green, 10 shades of pink, how many shades of blue-green and slices. And then when do we do these slices? We don't facet them because they're too included. And yet even these slices fetch a nice price.
So even mining the tourmaline on its own could be, because you work with all sorts of gemstones. It's not just tourmaline, it's the variety of them. But even just working with tourmaline on its own, it's an industry.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, it doesn't take as much money as emeralds do. But then you have to be very careful you don't blast all the tourmalines because they are susceptible to cracking. But tourmaline is definitely something that we need to look into as an industry, not as part of the entire gemstone industry. And where did all the tourmalines go? I mean, we've always had them. We used to mine them. And the reason that we stopped mining tourmaline is because the emeralds fetch a higher price tag. But these guys also fetch a high price tag. With the rubellites, I mean, they are... Just because they're Zambian doesn't mean that they're cheap, because by the time they end up in China or in India, this is the color of love. And there's 2 billion people and more. They wear tourmaline, rubellite tourmalines. I mean, they sell in the thousands per carat. That's not cheap. So, yeah, there's a lot of money to be made in the tourmalines as long as we can get the right cutting.
I mean, there are more questions than there are answers, because all I want to ask every single episode since we started having this discussion is, so why aren't we doing this? So why aren't we heading in this direction? So why aren't we implementing A, B, and C? Because it doesn't sound like it's rocket science, but it definitely sounds like we need to build an infrastructure
based around
and an industry that will push each and every single aspect of the process of the gemstone industry.
Why are we not doing this? I mean, I ask that question every single day. Why aren't the Zambians waking up to this? Why are they not seeing all the money that is waiting to be made? Why don't we have enough educated lapidarists and jewelers and, you know, the recognition, the gemologists? My father was the very first FGA, which is a fellow of the Gemological Association. I was number 2, and then I've trained a number 3. And the thing is, if somebody poaches her, then we're left with just 2. You know, there's somebody else that I know, but he's also doing something else because they just don't know how to add value. You know, you can study, but you still need to have enough gems around to study them further and write certificates. And so I certify globally.
Part of publishing as well, that information and letting the world know.
And like I said in my TED Talk, you know, these are barometers of success. People are successful over there. They have lots of money and they show off by wearing gemstones. We need to get into that. We need a culture around this, you know, and this is the reason why we're doing this podcast.
The earrings that you're wearing, you haven't talked about
right,
them.
my earrings.
These are magnificent pieces.
They're 50 carats
If
each.
you're going to see anything on this podcast, please just mark this minute and go and check out these earrings.
Zoom in on my earrings, guys. There are 100 carats of bicolored tourmaline on my ears. And there's a Fanta orange on top, and I've complemented with a single Fanta for the post. And these are something that Angelina Jolie should wear on the red carpet.
Oh, but what about an African
Why not?
actress?
Why don't we?
I want to see that color on dark skin, on some melanin.
Well, we can do that. Find one.
Yeah.
I've tried to get some African people,
I'm sure
actors.
we can find them. Lupita Nyong'o, somebody.
All right.
You know,
Let's even start with Adichie.
Absolutely. Yeah. Exactly.
Like we both read her books.
Exactly. We do. And we love them.
Yes.
Okay, let's check out what Raj has to say. And now join us for the industry segment with Raj Sharma and Ambassador Lazarus Kapambwe with Permanent Secretary Evans Muhanga.
My name is Raj Sharma, and I'm the Managing Director of Jewel of Africa. And with me today, my guest for the podcast on the Zambian jewels is the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Tourism, Mr. Evans Muhanga, as well as Ambassador Lazarus Kapambwe, who was our immediate past ambassador to the USA. Gentlemen, welcome to you both for today's podcast.
Thank you very much.
P.S. As part of your visit today, you had the opportunity to tour the value addition facilities of Jewel of Africa, where you saw the cutting and polishing of gems, the manufacture of jewelry, and hopefully some of the final products. Could I start the podcast by getting your initial impression of this industry?
Yes, so Raj, I think when I was taken through, sense of pride as a Zambian, and I think to learn much more that there's a lot that we have in the gemstone mining, and then it is actually fitting very well with the aspect of value addition, which, as you are aware, the president currently has been talking about value addition in whatever form, whether you are in manufacturing of whatever products that you are doing, they should be value addition. And I think time and again, if you look previously, if you are talking about gemstone mining itself, raw stones have been sold out. You know, for some of us who grew up on the copper belt in Kalulushi there, Fuanyama area, you'll find there are a lot of people who would actually come all the way from West Africa, from Mali, from Senegal, and they'll be there and they'll be taking raw stones. And our people would actually trade into raw stones as well, just going. They'll get to the mine. But what I felt as a sense of pride today is to be able to see what is actually happening. And the young people that are involved and the experience of also those that started long time to really work on polishing the stones. And also the fact that the market is out there. But most Zambians, they are not even aware of what you're actually doing. So today I was actually very much amazed when I was taken through and to see the differences and many other type of stones that are actually in Zambia that God has endowed this country with. And, you know, so as you mine them, as you polish them, and the quality that was there, it's just amazing. And to be able to know that this is what you've been doing for over 30 years, I'm told.
It is 32 indeed.
You know, it's just amazing. So for me, now I'm saying Zambia, there's so many endowments. Of course, we are known for a lot, especially from the tourism sector. So gem tourism is something that obviously has now to be pronounced much more. And I'm looking at the element of saying today we are discussing about branding Zambia, not just as a tourism destination, but as a country. What should we be known for? Of course, from people say, oh, we are known for peace. But the endowments that we have, I think, in terms of gemstones, we should be able to actually also amplify that voice to the market out there and to know. And we've seen some of these catwalks and also showbiz where they show us, high profile people, and they're telling you what they're wearing. A gemstone is actually from Zambia, and it's so much money. The carats are so it's a sense of pride, but to others it feels like, is it really true? But to be able to come here and see what you are doing, it has actually been quite an amazing insight for me. Yeah.
Thank you, PS. You've covered, I think, the entire industry in a minute or two. But allow me to come back to you for a bit more detailed discussion on how we could do this.
Yeah.
But before I do that, Ambassador Kapambwe, having served as a career diplomat of well over 40 years all around the world, perhaps the question to ask you is, do we have a deliberate policy as a country to showcase Zambia's endowments, as the PS has mentioned, our natural resources, and market them through our diplomatic missions worldwide?
Well, thank you very much. The answer is yes. We do periodically have national policies, and we are always improving on those things. But first of all, I wanted to zero in on the work of the embassies. You know, when a diplomat, by definition, is a salesperson. And what we do is sell or market a product, and the product is called Zambia. Before you can be a good salesperson, you have to understand the product that you are selling. And product Zambia has many facets to it.
I love that word.
Mining is just one facet of product Zambia. When we talk about tourism, that's just one facet of product Zambia. And of course, under tourism or mining or agriculture, there are many products that we sell. So the embassy is a sales point for product Zambia. Now, we are at the service of not only governmental entities, but also the private sector. When I was in New York in the 80s, the late 80s, I was amazed to find that 33% of all the emeralds that were sold at the New York market were actually Zambian emeralds.
And that was many, many years ago.
That was around 1988.
Yes.
But those emeralds did not go to New York direct from Zambia.
You'd be interested to note, Ambassador, that the current figure is well over 50% of the world's emeralds annually do come from Zambia.
Yes. And the quality of those emeralds is first grade. At the time in the 80s, they were calling it Colombian grade, which was the highest. I don't know why they weren't calling it the Zambian grade, but Zambian emeralds were of the highest quality, are of the highest quality. Similarly, there are many other gemstones around the world which are Zambian, which are famous, as the PS was saying. Perhaps they've been worn by stars, but hardly do we know that these are emeralds or other gemstones from Zambia. And there are, in the majority of cases, the source of these emeralds, the immediate source, is not acknowledged as Zambia. It is either Israel or Amsterdam or India. So, to join what the PS was saying, I am very, very encouraged to see what you are doing in adding value, because now we are going to have a situation where finished products are directly coming to consumers in the United States, in Europe, and different parts of the world. So, coming back to the role of the embassy, we are your marketing agency. And one of the ways through which we do that is participating in expos or trade fairs, global trade fairs. The Ministry of Tourism has many international fairs that they attend, tourism expos. But on the margins of every expo are the products that a country produces. So when you are talking about Zambia, you cannot talk about Zambia fully without talking about the natural endowments such as the gemstones that the PS was talking about. And so, yes, it is a policy of government to encourage the marketing of our country, the branding of our country. And various national policies do come up in foreign policy and in the development plans of the country, which encourage the marketing of our country and encourage the bringing in of foreign direct investment. It is because of the work of the embassies, by and large, that other countries come to know about Zambia. And I'm glad to say that when I was ambassador in both New York and Washington, I had the privilege of hosting the Jewel of Africa, where they came to showcase some of the work that the PS has referred to, which he has seen. And it greatly impressed the various people that were able to come to those shows. And so I would say that it is part of government policy to, at every international fair that we attend, to showcase as much of Zambia as we can. And I hope that the industry that you are in will take advantage, not only to wait until these international fairs are conducted, but also to proactively seek to come and display, to come and showcase your products in the various Zambian embassies abroad.
Our next guest
will
be receiving a Tourmaline, but I'm so excited to see.
He's young, he's versatile himself, he's grown really fast and quick through the ranks. His name is, and he's very handsome as well, and he's featured on the Excel magazine as a cover, and he's, I think he's watched my TED Talk, and he's quite passionate about the gemstone industry, he's passionate about taking on the gemstone industry into the future as one of the important industries, economic growth engines for the country. So his name is Komba. And I think most of us know Komba, right?
Yeah?
Yes.
I think so.
Let's go and introduce it.
And now join us for the guest segment.
Hello, Komba. Welcome back to Jewel of Africa.
Hi, Rashmi.
It's been long.
Try not to rush me.
I'll try not to. Oh gosh, I've lived with that my entire life. But how long has it been since you were last here?
Sheesh, a little over 15 years ago.
15? I thought it was
that.
10.
15.
You must have been a little boy then.
I was quiet.
Well, and then I saw you all grown up in the Excel magazine, and you are overpowering or shadowing Rashmi on this magazine.
Listen, this was a print error. We need to take it back to Excel magazine because
No, I think it's just perfect.
the feminist that I am believes that you are in charge of this. And that's why I came all the way for this discussion. So really excited for our conversation.
Well, they say behind every successful man, there is a woman somewhere,
Yes,
right? So
or the
there I
other way
am.
around.
Yeah, or the other way around. So why I brought this up was because I actually want you to autograph this personal copy of mine. Are you going to do that for me?
I will.
There you go, handsomeness.
Yeah, no, thanks so much. I'm gonna take the honor and privilege to autograph on Rashmi Takes Zambia, Jamestown Kuchalo.
Go for it.
You know,
okay.
And picking up on this, I mean, this for me is a full circle moment. I'll tell you why.
Tell me.
Because this 15 years ago discussion that we chatted about just a little before this interview, for me, I was tasked, right, by my first boss just after I graduated. So imagine I was working in exhibitions, and the exhibition that was coming up specifically was in tourism. And we're trying to find an angle to bring, you know, the Jewel of Africa into the exhibition. And so my boss, Chimamwe, then I hope you watch this segment, says to me, you've been given the rare task of speaking to either Rashmi or Raj and get them to come on board. And so all my colleagues were like, oh my God, you know, all the best. It's going to be a tough discussion.
Oh gosh, okay.
We have attempted it. I'm like, oh, what to expect, you know? And little old me walking into Intercon, and I came in and I was told, you know, well, Rashmi is there, but she's in a meeting, you're going to have to wait. And you are doing your thing, passionately speaking, and how is she going to take this? It's a sales call. You come out of that meeting, you see me, how can I help you? I say, look, I've come for a pitch. I'm really hoping that you'd come on board with our sales and marketing exhibition. And you said, sit down, what do you know about sales and marketing? What do you know about the Jewel of Africa? I said, I know very little about the Jewel of Africa, but I know a lot about you. I know you're passionate about what you do. And I know I have very little time to make my sales pitch, but I want to get you to come on board. He said, there's no way I'm coming on board if you do not know about the Jewel of Africa. And you sold it so passionately. And I was wondering where the commercial angle to your business was, because I was here to sell to you.
Right.
And you did no selling. You did no marketing. You spoke so passionately about the Jewel of Africa. And you say that your mission was to make sure that Zambia retains its rightfulness in the Jamestown territory,
right.
The biggest exporter of gemstones on the continent. And to read this article today,
15 years later, we're still there.
Rashmi Takes Zambia, Gemstone Kuchalo.
That's it.
For me, it's full circle.
All right. Well, well, thank you for that beautiful story. And I continue to advocate local gemstones. And I have this conviction that, you know, Zambia has to become, and thank you for your autograph, by the way. Yeah, has to become the gemstone leader in the globe. Because if we are producing over 60% of the emeralds that come from Zambia, and Tourmaline is another industry that we're going to talk about just now. And we have more gems in Zambia than any other country that have been discovered so far. And we're surrounded by countries that have gemstones. So it makes sense that Zambia has the veins flowing underneath us. We can take Zambia to a different level. You know, it doesn't have to remain a poor country. And you've listened to my TED Talk.
100%.
So the inspiration for that was, why are we so poor and yet we are so rich? But far underneath the ground. So we need to pick up this mining industry, you know, widen those bottlenecks that are preventing the mining from happening locally. And I'm glad you're on board and you can teach us a few things on how to go about doing that.
100%. First of all, thank you so much for having me here. 15 years later, I'm now the CEO of MTN Mobile Money.
Congratulations.
And one of the most complicated things has been to explain to every Zambian that Zambia is indeed not poor. We are financially excluded.
Right.
And this conversation brings something so critical. We are also excluded from our biggest commodity export in mining. The saddest part is Zambia is rich. In all her glory, she breaks into over 8 borders. And that positions her as a hub for many things, including gemstones.
Right.
And I'm hoping that at the end of all these conversations, we'll be able to make every Zambian realize just how much power they have. Export is great, but surrounded by all this beauty is, how do we complete that finished product and be retained to our official title of being the net grower and inhabitant of the gemstone?
Yes. Gemstone and minerals.
And minerals.
And talking about gemstones, the most versatile, the most beautiful, as far as I'm concerned, is the tourmaline. All right, we talk a lot about emeralds. Zambia is producing so much emeralds, but do you know that Zambia has over 64 different colors of just tourmaline?
Wow.
You start from Mukushi, go all the way into the Eastern Province, into Malawi, and the colors change depending on the composition of the earth.
Wow.
Yeah, and within one tourmaline, there's 2 colors.
Yeah.
You know, you've listened to the talk already.
I have
the TED Talk.
quite a complicated stone.
Right? It is a complicated stone, but it's the most fun.
Wow.
Yes. And so, you know, with the birthstones, you can have a lot of people, or whoever came up with this chart, great marketing pitch, by the way. So January birthstone is the garnet, and by the time we get to July, it's a ruby.
It's a ruby.
But Zambia has the pink rubellite.
Wow.
Which is very much similar to the ruby, same coloring agents. August is the peridot, but Zambia has the green tourmalines, and it has at least 10 different shades of green.
Stunning.
And then you get to October, and we have the play of color.
A play of color.
Play of color.
In doing my little research
Yes.
Of tourmaline, I realized that it's actually an October gemstone.
That's
next
just
to
the
opal.
watermelon play of color.
Wow.
And one of my shelves over there is just exhibiting the watermelons. And the rest of the shelf over there has the singular colors of greens and pinks and reds and black and white and everything in between. So the entire prism is inside a tourmaline. And then I wanted to gift you a tourmaline. Yes.
Wow.
And say thank you for coming onto my podcast. And
Thank you so much. The pleasure is mine. I'll tell you, the gift is so appropriate. I'll tell you why. My late mother was born in October, and the anniversary of her passing was actually 2 days ago. I've been thinking to myself...
Maybe goosebumps. Yes.
Yeah, but it's been 20 years since she passed. I've been thinking to myself, how do I honor that memory? A memory that is so sentimental to me. So it is crazy that you'd be gifting me.
Yes. And because we haven't seen each other in 15 years, I wasn't quite sure which one of these would be the most appropriate. So I'll leave that to you.
Wow.
Hang in there, buddy.
Okay.
Black tourmaline.
Ways. Cufflinks. Absolutely stunning.
And they rotate. So when you're stressed and you're thinking about your mother, you can sit there and play with them.
And play with them. These are absolutely stunning cufflinks.
Faceted right here by Zambians, and the jewelry made right here by us Zambians.
Cutting as well.
Yes.
To this precision.
That's right. We know our science. The science is behind every gemstone. Don't you love that play?
I love the play.
Right.
I love the packaging.
Thank you.
Everything about it's stunning.
Thank you. So that one is the play of tourmaline with the black tourmaline, and you're wearing black.
Yeah.
So if you wear any other color
Favorite
or a
color.
black tie, I think that will
Will go very well.
The frame will set off the beads.
Very nice.
And as you get older, which is a long way from now,
Yes.
the black tourmaline is actually excellent for arthritis.
I would specifically...
So we'll work on that later.
I would specifically also encourage for the gents as they get married to get a roll-in one, because they won't need it in the marriage.
Just sit there and take it out on the ring.
Take the
Take it
stress
out
out
on the
on
ring.
the
This one over here is a watermelon tourmaline
Oh, that's gorgeous.
with a pink interior and the darker exterior set in Zambian gold.
Stunning.
So
Would
the
you look at
choice,
that?
now there's a difficult choice.
That's a very difficult choice. But you know what I love about this one?
Tell me.
Is the rawness of it all.
So this is your October birthstone,
Ah, brilliant.
right? So this one,
Very appropriate for the messaging that we
for your
spoke
mother.
about earlier.
That's right, yes. And Samba actually chose that one for you. She said,
she
"This
really?
is so you." And I was really confused because initially we're going to show you the third one, which is not a tourmaline at all.
It's gonna beat Samba's recommendation. Let's see.
I don't think so anymore.
I trust Samba
I don't
on many
think
lines.
it's so anymore.
Ooh.
The green malachite. Now, I
she's
personally
stunning.
love malachite.
So malachite.
I love tourmaline. I love all my gemstones. I'm not supposed to love one more than the other. But malachite is doing extremely well internationally.
Okay.
I mean, the Van Cleefs, the Bulgaris,
Yes.
they set them in
They
Van
set them
Cleef and
in
Arpels,
everything.
and 15 grand, 25 grand later, and it's malachite. You put some gold around it, put some diamonds around it, and it goes in the tens of thousands.
It does.
We don't appreciate malachite that much over
I can
here.
tell you, looking at it right now, I appreciate malachite.
Thank you very much. So now you have 3 options, and you have to pick one. I don't make it easy for you, do I?
You don't make it easy for anybody.
But at least it's a happy moment. Yeah.
It's a happy moment.
You can meditate on them.
So I'll tell you, the malachite is a beautiful choice, and I like everything that it symbolizes. I love the fact that it's doing well on the international scene. It is also the color of money, so it sits green. And I love the solidness of it all. So it would be a good third option.
All right.
So we're narrowing down. I love the stress relief component. I love the whole architecture behind the initial black stone.
Right.
It complements my look today very well.
It does.
And I love that it's set in silver.
Yes. Zambian pure silver, not sterling
Zambian
silver.
Pure silver. But my favorite, without a shadow of doubt, is the representation of my mother's birth month. And this I would take because of sentimental value.
Well, I'm so glad she picked it up for you because I wouldn't have. But I'm so glad you love it.
Without a shadow of doubt, I would
And
pick
it's
it.
rough, and it's Zambia. It's a piece of Zambia.
100%.
Yes, all of it.
It's
Yeah.
the authenticity of it all. I love that it's not in a perfect finish.
Yes.
And I love the plating around it. Very masculine.
Great.
And so Samba got the choice right.
Well, it's yours to take home.
Thank you so much.
Did you know you were getting a gift?
I did not know I was getting a gift.
All
I
right.
thought that we were going to come and talk gemstones, and I would be given the opportunity to purchase.
Well, I'd like to carry on talking to you at some other point about the gemstones and how to take this industry further.
100%.
First of all, we need to create the industry,
Yeah.
and then supporting industry
100%.
and bring people to Zambia to understand what we have, because I take gemstones and minerals to the world.
Yeah.
We need the world to come over here. So we need gem tourism. Number one, we need investors. We need the banks to open up with their funding
Yes.
and their interest rates. But I also understand that that's going to be very difficult.
I'm going to put it on a note.
Okay.
2 notes. And it's going to be left in question. Number one, if we are so rich in minerals, we are so rich in emeralds, we are rich in copper, most recently gold, and many other stones out there. Yet we travel miles to Indaba our discussions in South Africa.
That's right.
I'd like to challenge Zambians to create Zambia for the hub that it is in minerals and mining. The
Thank
mining
you.
in Indaba should be here in Zambia, but it starts with conversations like this.
Amen.
And you can count on me to support in this conversation. It starts as a conversation, but it's a journey of 1,000 miles. We'll start with this step. And this is the step that I am taking.
Thank you very much. Number 2.
Number 2 on my final question.
Right.
Which stone do I have to purchase, and I don't want it for free,
Okay.
that gets 50-year-olds looking like you?
51, but thank you very much.
Wow.
Yes.
15 years later,
All of
you
them.
only look better.
All of them.
I want the one.
Oh my God. I walk in and I say, I'm wearing this, give me something that will complement it. So,
Wow.
and my mother used to say that red really suits me.
It does quite. I mean, look at you.
Thank you. So
It's been a
maybe-
pleasure coming here. Thank you so much for having me. You had many opportunities to speak to many Zambians, but somehow my name landed on your desk and you took
did.
it up. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And thank you for sharing the front page with me on the Excel magazine.
100%. Thank you to Diana who creates space for us. So it's a pleasure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming.
Cheers.
Cheers. Wow. Kombe was interesting. Did you hear his voice break? He spoke about his mother and how October is her birthstone. And I gave him 3 options to pick from, and he picked his mother's birthstone as his gift. It was so sweet.
That was such an
Yes.
incredible moment to witness and be a part of. And I think this is something that's very special about the process of gifting and sharing that energy together, because you just create moments that you can never repeat.
Yes, and every time he looks at his cufflinks, he'll think of Jewel of Africa and his mother. I think that was a very special guest.
mother,
All
for
my
sure.
guests are very special, but he was getting a bit emotional, and then we started talking about how the Indaba, how we need to bring the indaba to Zambia.
I
And
love
I think
that
that's
idea.
something I'm going to definitely call him up on.
It's an important conversation with
Yes.
important questions that we need to ask. And the thing is, I don't think it's impossible. We can do it.
There's a lot to think about. Let's just end it at that for now. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to call Komba up and we'll discuss it. But there have to be some other key players involved.
Of course.
Yes.
It's
And we're
always,
still a
it's
very
the
small
ecosystem.
business and we need to...
keep on saying it. It's the
Right.
ecosystem.
We just repeat it
Nobody
until it
can
becomes
do
a
it
reality.
alone. Yes.
Yes. Got it.
All right.
All right.
That's the
That's a wrap.
episode.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See you for the next one.
It was a good one.
It was a good one. I enjoyed our guests. I enjoyed all the tourmalines. The tourmalines are just so bright and versatile and colorful, and they go with every outfit. And there isn't a color a tourmaline doesn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
thank you, Rashmi.
Thank you, Samba.
The Zambian Jewels podcast was made possible by Jewel of Africa and was produced by Kwatenga Media. Follow, subscribe, like, and comment on our socials for more information.